Protesters in Tucson tried to make sure their voices were heard as Steve Bannon took to the stage to accept an award.
Also tonight, the LGBTQ community is strutting down the runway for a cause. How these drag enthusiasts are fighting for their community on both sides of the border.
And Arizona Snow Bowl is hoping to open the slopes tomorrow after a series of delays due to high temperatures.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Sydney Eisenberg.
And I'm Victoria Mendoza. Thank you for joining us.
On Saturday, former White House Chief Strategist Steve Bannon visited Tucson to accept an award for excellence in journalism from the Brian Terry Foundation. Cronkite News reporter Fortessa Latifi has the story. Fortessa?
Bannon was invited to Tucson by the Brian Terry Foundation for his work at Breitbart News. The presence of such a controversial figure brought Tucsonans out to both support him and protest him. Tensions ran high Saturday afternoon as protesters and supporters faced off, clearly divided not only by barriers and a street, but by standing on opposite ends of the political spectrum. Summer Aguilera was there to protest against Steve Bannon's appearance.
I cannot stand by while somebody like Bannon is celebrated when his repertoire of hate speech goes on for decades.
Steve Bannon came to Tucson to accept an award from the Brian Terry Foundation, an organization started after Border Patrol agent Brian Terry was killed in the line of duty in 2010. Outside of the venue and on the other side of the street, Jennifer Harrison had her own reasons for supporting both Bannon and President Trump.
We're here to say that we want our borders secure, that we're not going to be intimidated by leftists that want to call us racist and bigots for wanting border security.
We will end sanctuary cities.
Inside the Marriott Star Pass Resort, Bannon engaged a crowd of supporters during a 25-minute speech where he mostly spoke about the election and the strategy that got President Trump elected.
Focus on southern border security, focus on these criminal cartels, focus on the issue of illegal immigration.
R.J. Jaffe was proud to have Bannon visit Tucson.
They're yelling no borders, they're yelling no USA at all, they're yelling no nations. These people are the radicals, these people are the problem.
Victoria Khalidi, on the other hand, didn't think Bannon deserved the honor.
Steve Bannon represents to me all that is wrong with the current administration. He kind of personifies the hate and the fear and the racism.
The Brian Terry Foundation told Tucson News Now, quote, "You can agree with the speaker, you can disagree with the speaker. That's our right as Americans. That's one of the reasons Brian did what he did," end quote. In the broadcast center, Fortessa Latifi, Cronkite News.
Texas authorities hope a $20,000 reward will lead to a suspect in the death of a Border Patrol agent. Rogelio Martinez was killed and his partner seriously hurt when they were attacked in the Big Bend sector yesterday morning. Today, President Donald Trump used the attack to renew his push for a border wall.
We talk about the wall. We're going to have the wall. It's part of what we're doing. We need it. That's rough territory. That's where the drugs are coming in. A lot of things are happening along the border, the southern border, and we're going to straighten it out.
President Trump has been pushing for a wall since his campaign, but there has been a pushback in Congress with some saying it's unnecessary.
President Donald Trump is renewing his promise to give Americans, quote, a huge tax cut for Christmas. Before a cabinet meeting today, Trump said he's hopeful the Senate will approve its version of the tax bill following a passage in the House last week. Earlier, the White House said it would be willing to strike a health care provision from the Senate tax cut bill if necessary.
Arizona is showing some steady overall gains when it comes to personal income. A new national estimate from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis shows that personal income rose 2.5% last year in metropolitan areas and 1% in more rural areas. In Arizona, all counties except for one saw positive growth in income over the last year. Greenlee County fell less than 1% to an average per capita income of just less than $40,000. The top county of per capita income was Maricopa, with the average income of $43,628, and the lowest was Pinal County, where the average income was just less than $28,000.
We're learning tonight the cost of the opioid epidemic beyond the loss of life. The White House says in 2015, it cost the U.S. more than $500 billion. The analysis by the Council of Economic Advisors was released this morning. They say this estimate is more than 6 times larger than the most recent estimate. Last month, President Donald Trump declared opioid abuse a national public health emergency. The government says nearly 100 people die every day from opioid abuse. And we're getting new numbers from the Arizona Department of Health Services on the crisis here in Arizona. Since June 15th, there have been more than 4,000 possible opioid overdoses. Of that, more than 550 of those were deadly. Since they started collecting data, last week had the lowest number of possible overdoses, with just 65.
An increase in abuse and even thefts are causing Valley pharmacies to change how they do business. Cronkite News reporter Kevin Gessner spoke to local pharmacists and the State Pharmacy Board, who are changing practices to fight abuse and fraud.
So we decided to stop selling the medication, so we no longer carry oxycodone or oxycodone products.
The owner of Rosie's Pharmacy in Central Phoenix says she made that decision after her pharmacy was robbed 3 times in 3 months by people looking for narcotics.
We had to lock our door for that reason too, so you have to ring the bell before you come in.
Then there's prescription fraud. Rosie Vallon says she's combating addicts who are, quote, pharmacy shopping. That's why she relies on the Controlled Substance Prescription Monitoring Program run by the Arizona State Board of Pharmacy.
If you are a brand new customer coming in the door, we are going to look you up in the monitoring program. If you're a regular customer, you get checked either quarterly or every 6 months.
And she's not alone in that policy. Teresa Stickler, owner and pharmacist at Melrose Pharmacy in Phoenix, says the program helps her watch out for those who may be abusing narcotics and says she has seen fewer fake prescriptions because of it.
It is easy to look through and kind of see what prescriptions other patients have filled, controlled substance prescriptions.
The database shows things like if the patient has tried to fill the prescription elsewhere, if they're filling it early, or they've been prescribed a painkiller before. Doug Scavarla is the director of the program, and he says although prescriptions for opioids have decreased, overdoses have increased.
As the opioid tablets become less available, a lot of people are turning to heroin.
Just last month, Arizona started requiring doctors to look at the monitoring program before prescribing opioids to help patients' health and continue to fight opioid fraud. In Phoenix, Kevin Gessner, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is dedicated to covering the opioid crisis. You can watch our documentary Hooked RX From Prescription to Addiction and find resources for getting help online at hookedrx.org.
During the mass shooting in Las Vegas, concert goers became first responders, helping to treat the wounded until ambulances arrived. If you found yourself in this situation, would you know what to do? Reporter Drew Marine takes us through training to stop the bleed.
When there's an emergency, the first rule of thumb is to call 911.
However, the time it takes for EMS and that help to arrive could be 1, 3, 5, or even longer minutes.
It only takes 5 minutes for someone to bleed out, which is why it's important bystanders know how to apply tourniquets and pack wounds before help arrives. And that's part of the instruction through the Stop the Bleed program at St. Luke's Medical Center in Phoenix.
And I'm going to cinch it down here. And then once I have it cinched to this point, then I'm just going to turn that this rod over and over and over again until he says ow.
Once the bleeding has stopped, it's time for CPR.
And you already controlled the bleeding, but now you need to circulate what oxygen is in the blood to those vital organs, especially the brain. Okay? So the goal is 100 compressions per minute. You just keep going fast and hard.
With recent mass casualty disasters like Hurricane Maria and the Las Vegas shooting, students like Taylor Blair think these skills are essential.
I just think that it's kind of good for everybody to know just in case a kind of situation comes up. I can definitely show others for sure. Like I'm going to try and share that with my family, maybe a couple friends, and kind of just spread the word a little bit.
The Stop the Bleed campaign was launched by President Barack Obama and the White House in 2015.
Reapplying pressure until you've got it all.
In Phoenix, Drew Marine, Cronkite News.
The next Stop the Bleed class will be on January 19th, 2018, when St. Luke's expects its new education center to be open.
In the museums of Washington, D.C., you can see everything from dinosaurs to space rockets and all sorts of historic relics.
But now a whole museum is devoted to one book. Coming up on Cronkite News, we take you inside the Museum of the Bible.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
Show where we tackle the taboo and debate the tough questions with some of the most interesting minds in the game. I'm Carlos Watson. Electrifying conversation. Friday, only on PBS.
We're tracking a developing story right now. CBS News has suspended Charlie Rose, and PBS is halting production and distribution of The Charlie Rose Show following new sexual harassment reports. A Washington Post investigative team spoke to 8 women who accused the veteran newsman of multiple unwanted sexual advances and inappropriate behavior. Rolls told the Post that he was deeply embarrassed and apologized for his behavior. The 75-year-old journalist is one of 3 hosts of CBS This Morning and is also a contributor to 60 Minutes.
Growing up as a member of the LGBTQ community can be a struggle at times, and for many Latino youths, their journey is made even more difficult because of the conservative, male-dominated, and religious nature of their culture. Over the weekend, a local activist group gave support and a little sparkle to those who say they're discriminated against because of who they are. Cronkite News reporter Alex Valdez was at the show and has the story.
5 months ago, Aaron Castillo embarked on a journey that's been both exhilarating and terrifying.
I'm a transgender Mexicano, and right now it's really important for us to, just be visual, especially at this time.
Castillo is undocumented and didn't know where to turn to begin his transition. That's when Transqueer Pueblo, a Phoenix activist group dedicated to helping LGBTQ Latinos, stepped in, helping Aaron begin his journey from female to male.
Clinical Liberación, which has helped me being undocumented to be able to take my hormones.
Like Aaron, many Latino LGBTQ members say they don't know where to go for help and support. One way Transqueer Pueblo offers that is through events like this. Drag for a Dream, a night put together to bring awareness to the issue and raise funds for those who need assistance.
We're a community for LGBT people of color, undocumented, and we focus on, our oppression.
Drag for a Dream brought members of the community together for a night full of singing, dancing, and culture to benefit LGBTQ migrants. Migrants like Mario Mendoza, who says events like Drag for a Dream are important to LGBTQ Latinos who often face the most rejection from their own community.
It's probably the worst thing to come out as being a Latino, gay, transgender, anything.
But by night's end, the message behind Drag for a Dream was clear. You are not alone.
Don't be afraid. There's a family out there for us, for each other.
In Phoenix, Alex Valdez, Cronkite News.
The goal behind Drag for a Dream was to raise $5,000 in a single night, and organizers say they achieved it.
A new museum in the nation's capital is bringing the history of the Bible into the 21st century. Washington Bureau reporter Trevor Fay talked with some Arizonans who were there for its opening this weekend.
When you walk into the new privately funded Museum of the Bible, there's one thing you may not see right away: Bibles. Officials say they wanted focus on how the Bible has impacted history, as museum co-founder Steve Green explains.
We want to take a moment to set our differences aside and say, here's a book that has changed our world, that has impacted lives, and we want to celebrate it in this facility.
It's a strictly non-denominational facility meant to recognize a wide range of beliefs, according to museum executives.
We don't advocate any specific faith tradition. This book is the foundation of many faiths and many faith traditions, and so we want to honor all of them.
The Museum of the Bible is also on the cutting edge of technology. Exhibits allow visitors to learn from the past through touchscreen displays, which caught the eye of 2 Arizona residents.
It's more than just a museum. I mean, there's so much beautiful art and interaction in how people's daily lives were lived.
It's not just the high-tech environment that draws a crowd. The museum sits just a stone's throw from the National Mall. Standing on the 6th floor of the 430,000 square foot Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C., you're able to see a commanding view of the Capitol Dome. Just one more detail that was included in the 3-year construction of this building. With the opening of the museum, officials say they hope to educate millions of people about the scriptures in the years to come, a sentiment shared by some in attendance today.
We believe that people need to study the words, and they need to read and know their history.
In Washington, Trevor Fay, Cronkite News.
We're just days away from Thanksgiving.
And today, St. Mary's Food Bank gave out food to hundreds. Coming up on Cronkite News, we'll show you how dozens of volunteers are banding together to help Arizona families.
Right now in Phoenix, it is 77 degrees outside, a few clouds in the sky, with a humidity of 14%. Now stick around with me after this, and we'll talk about what your weather is going to look like this Thanksgiving.
I'm Ted Simons, host and managing editor of Arizona Horizon. Join us each weekday at 5:30 and 10 as we bring you the top newsmakers who impact the state. We cover the stories in depth that shape and affect our local communities, and we take the time to ensure that all voices are equally heard. For more than 30 years, Arizona Horizon has been your voice and your source for what matters most, right here on Arizona PBS.
Officially from 36, and he hooks it in. Arizona State wins. Keeping one deep, and it is caught. Jalen Strong. Do you believe
The Arizona Game and Fish Department has relocated and released 14 adult desert bighorn sheep near the Saguaro Lake and Goldfield Mountains in the Mesa area. There were 4 rams and 10 ewes in the group. The purpose of the bighorn relocation was to create a subpopulation in their natural habitat away from the larger group in southern Arizona in case of a disease outbreak. If something devastating happens to the larger bighorn sheep group, there will be a way to regenerate the population.
Over the next several days, the temperatures are expected to rise to near record highs.
And those warmer temps are affecting skiing and snowboarding in Arizona.
Christiana Fadul is tracking the weather.
But we want to begin with Emily Bloom, who's up at Arizona Snow Bowl.
Arizona Snow Bowl is set to open November 1st, but because of that warm weather, it's been delayed a couple of times since then. Well, now, all thanks to snowmaking machines, skiers are going to be able to hit the slopes tomorrow. Arizona Snow Bowl invested in snowmaking machines 3 years ago, and since then, skiers and snowboarders have been able to hit the slopes by Thanksgiving. After 2 delayed openings, folks here in Flagstaff are ready to celebrate the start of ski season tomorrow.
And that's a lot of investment on the part of the mountain. They're putting a lot of money onto the hill to provide this service to people during the holiday week. It's important that we get started, and it's not going to be a lot of terrain that's available. I'm sure you'll hear more about that later today, but it's going to open, and that's what they predicted, and that's what they're delivering. And that means a lot to this community. It means economic value to every business in this town.
Okay. While the lifts will be running tomorrow, only a fraction of the trails are going to be open. But with a little help from Mother Nature, they hope to have this entire mountain open by Christmas. In Flagstaff, I'm Emily Bloom for Cronkite News.
Now, we definitely aren't feeling those snowball temperatures here in the valley.
Christiana, what can we expect for our weather this Thanksgiving and through Black Friday?
There hasn't been a huge drop in temperatures this week, but we will see the weather cool down a bit over the next 2 weeks. So right now in Phoenix, it is 77 degrees outside, partly cloudy with a humidity of 15%, so we will not be seeing much rain. Now, as we compare our temperature today to the high average that we've seen, we're definitely not hitting the average or the record. So our record was at 89, so definitely a lot higher than we're at today, and our average 73, so just a few degrees lower than we're used to seeing. Now, looking at the state as a whole, we are seeing in Lake Havasu, it's 72 degrees right now, and Show Low, 63. Now, taking it close to home here in the valley, we're seeing 76 in Surprise and 80 in Goodyear. For the rest of the week, we are going to see a little bit of a fluctuation in our temperatures with 80 tomorrow and then a jump up to 85 on Wednesday. And then by Thanksgiving, it's going to be a warmer 88 degrees with a low of 60. And then as we go throughout the weekend, we're going to bump back down to 80 degrees Friday, Saturday, 84 on Sunday, and then up to 85 on Monday with a low of 59. For Cronkite Weather, I'm Christiana Fadul.
The Phoenix Suns were on hand this morning as the St. Mary's Food Bank in Phoenix opened its doors to start giving away turkeys and other Thanksgiving staples to those in need. The Suns' star guard, Devin Booker, was one of dozens of volunteers giving an assist this morning in the annual Thanksgiving giveaway. St. Mary's is expected to feed 12,000 families over the next couple of days. Representatives from the Phoenix Suns organization say it's a great thing to be able to lend a hand.
It's kind of humbling, you kind of you learn, that you have a very important role here in the community, both representing yourself but also the organization, the Phoenix Suns.
St. Mary's is still asking for more turkey donations. Organizers say they are more than 1,000 short of their estimated need. If you'd like to help out, you can find the food bank at 31st Avenue and Thomas in Phoenix.
If you turn into the Cookie Monster late at night, you'll want to stay tuned for this.
Coming up on Cronkite News, a dessert delivery service that satisfies those late night cravings.
Fridays, it's at Cronkite News, your social sharing connection where you choose the news. Facebook likes and shares, tweets, retweets, and favorites. YouTube views and subscriptions. We're watching you watch us. From our digital home at cronkitenews.azpbs.org to your television, web browser, or mobile device. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Then join us for at Cronkite News, our weekly refresh, each Friday at 5 on Arizona PBS.
This fall.
I'm so excited!
What? From the inspiring to the amazing.
You're in the presence of history.
The compelling.
He said, "Welcome home." It was just a powerful moment.
To the astounding.
I promised myself I wouldn't cry.
And from the breathtaking.
This is real.
A journey to Mars.
To the electrifying.
We're going to change the world.
All this and more. All this fall.
Oh my God!
I'm Jose Cardenas, host of Horizonte. Each week, we bring you experts and community leaders to discuss the issues that are vital to our community here in Arizona. We cover the stories that affect and inspire us and our families, and talk to the newsmakers who shape the communities where we live. Horizonte is your source and your voice for what matters most here on Arizona PBS.
Has your sweet tooth ever given you a case of late night cravings, but you were too lazy or too tired to go out and satisfy it?
If so, reporter Tim Johns introduces to us one Valley business attempting to fix that.
I love desserts. I have the biggest sweet tooth.
Avery Brooks is a law student, small business owner, and self-proclaimed cookie queen. A few years ago, Brooks started Totally Baked, a delivery-only or ghost restaurant that delivers freshly baked cookies and desserts to your front door from the weekend hours of 7 p.m. to 4 a.m.
We were all hanging out and we realized there's no places open past midnight that serve desserts, and we took it a step further and decided, well, if we're up late, we want it delivered to us.
According to the Arizona Restaurant Association, Totally Baked is one of the only ghost restaurants operating here in the Valley. While the trend has hit big in cities like New York and LA, it hasn't taken off in Phoenix yet. And for Brooks, the success didn't always come easy.
You have to believe in what you're doing first and foremost. I just believed that it would happen, and everything fell into place.
Amy Newton is Totally Baked's co-founder who believed in Brooks's vision, even in a city that's not known for being 24/7.
I knew her really well, and I believed in her so much that I believed in kind of whatever idea she had.
And for Brooks, that faith will keep her moving forward with expansion plans once she finishes school in the spring.
Once I graduate, I think we will plan on moving into more of a retail, traditional space.
Giving up the ghost for brick and mortar. In Phoenix, Tim Johns, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, those who voted for President Trump talk about their decision a year after the election. And an Arizona doctor talks about her study on the effects of marijuana on PTSD patients.
I'm Hari Srinivasan on the next news hour. One unexpected result of the war on terror. Art created by detainees at Gitmo. That's Monday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thank you for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
PBS presents an all-star tribute to America's king of late-night comedy.
We love you, Jay!
Join Jerry Seinfeld, Garth Brooks, Jimmy Fallon, and many more on the Kennedy Center Mark Twain Prize for American Humor.
Tonight at 8:30 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS.